Hey Professor, this is Jackson, and this is my Unit 2 reflection. So, I chose my audience to be teachers, educators, and school administrators because, they're the ones who directly control how AI can be used in the classroom. Since my argument focuses on integrating AI into the curriculum rather than banning it, um, I thought it made the most sense to target the people who actually have, the ability to make these decisions and integrate AI into the classroom. I also wanted to reach educators who may be unsure or skeptical about the use of AI in the classroom. Since a large part of my essay addresses, not only the benefits, but also the concerns of artificial intelligence and how it could, potentially hurt students in the classroom. To better reach this audience, I used a balanced and kind of analytical tone, um, instead of sounding overly biased. Especially with, the three graphs that I provided, I tried to keep the bias out of it and keep that analytical tone. So, I really let the numbers speak for themselves. So yeah, I thought I did a very good job of keeping my bias out of it. Um, to kind of further prove that, I wanted to give two quotes. Both represent each side of the spectrum. The first I used was students can potentially use AI to simply spit out answers without understanding or doing any of the work. Obviously, this is a negative AI quote. Another one I used was educational institutions must adapt to the evolving wave of AI by integrating it directly into the curriculum. Obviously, this is the opposite stance as the other quote. I had a lot of conflicting ideas, and I thought that really, allowed me to see the whole perspective of the problem. So yeah, in researching this topic, as I said, I challenged myself to look at both sides of the conversation instead of only focusing on specific sources that backed my personal initial opinion. Right now, I think the overall conversation around AI in education is very divided. Some believe that it has the potential to boost students' learning and productivity, especially outside of the classroom, while others kind of look at it as something that threatens critical thinking skills and overall, unfortunately, threatens academic integrity. Um, After looking at all the sources, I understand both sides of the point. Um, and yeah, I think compared to earlier discussions about technology and education, this debate feels much more urgent because AI can directly produce work rather than just provide information. Um, I think all of my sources were pretty quality, especially the three graphs. I thought that was really cool because it took real life information and real life numbers and it put it into something visual that everybody can digest and understand. Um, and one cool thing about numbers is obviously they can't be biased. So raw statistics really proved what I was trying to get my point across. Um, so yeah, I really enjoyed the graphs. When it came to the pitch part, I actually did not hear a response from my pitch, but I ended up following up and giving an overview of kind of my essay and what I was trying to get across. And then finally, one method from this project I think I could take into another class is I've been talking about it, but really keeping that bias and not giving my personal opinion, but giving the opinions of other people, and then combining it all into a thoughtful response. I think that's probably the biggest skill that I can not only take in writing, but I can also apply that to my business work. Especially, like I said, numbers are very unbiased. So within the business world, in my analytical world, I'm able to use those numbers and then create, my opinion instead of, having an opinion and then trying to find numbers that back up my opinion. Um, Finding the numbers first is probably most important. And that continues outside of school, into my work life. Um, yeah, just, keeping that bias out of it, super important. So yeah, that's it. I thought I did pretty well on this. I used a lot of sources, and yeah, that's it. That's my reflection. Thank you.